A very good morning to everyone. Children, we are continuing with the rest part of the lesson number 1 in this video. It is video number 3 regarding lesson number 1. Dear children, in this video we are going to learn about the administrative sources or the admin features of Harappan civilization sites. There are several assumptions regarding this, so we will be letting you know that what are the chief characteristics or chief features of the Harappan civilization sites in context to administration. So, children, there are different assumptions about this. There are clear indications of complex decision making and its implementation in whole of Harappan civilization sites, and it is visualized through some certain points, especially the uniformity of Harappan artifacts, seals, weights, bricks, and other things. Uniformity means sameness. May they be the sites of Afghanistan, like Shortway, may they be the sites of Gujarat, like of Lothal, may it be Dholavira, may it be Kalibanga of Rajasthan. We found uniformity in artifacts, we found uniformity or sameness in seals also, weights also, bricks also. So that is only possible when there is complex decision making, when there is one ruling body. Okay. Second thing is strategic settlement. Second point which let us know, which make us confirm that there had been some complex decision making, that is strategic settlement. Children, when we say strategic settlement, that means the development of port cities, the development of city life in Mohenjo-daro, the development of the craft centers like of Nageshwar, Balakot, etc., Chanudaro, etc. Okay, so these strategic settlement were being settled through some authorities, through some organizing bodies. Another indication could be the systematic mobilization of labor. Okay, children, when there would be authority, when there would be a governing body, it would be helping the workshops to be executed, the craft production centers to be developed, the transportation facilities to be undergo. Okay, so children, in these all things we specially smell out, we specially realize one complex decision making system all over the Harappan civilization sites. Archaeologists do not provide accurate answer about this, but some of them are of the opinion that Harappan society had no rulers and everybody enjoyed equal status. Others feel that there were several rulers in each settlement, like one in Mohenjo-daro, one in Kalibanga, one in Shortway. The third wing of the archaeologists say that there was a single state, means whole of the Harappan civilization were under one ruling body. Especially it is on the basis of similarity in artifacts or due to sameness in the plant development. Especially children, this last theory seems more accurate to us. Okay, because without having a singular ruling body, uniqueness in decision making, uniqueness in craft production couldn't be made. So this last theory seems to us more accurate. Okay. Now we move to the next part, that is the end of civilization. When we say the end of civilization, this simply refers to us that how did Harappan civilization sites come to an end? Why did people started leaving these sites? Why Mohenjo-daro, why Harappa, why Shortway was being left out? What happened? Why did it not last for longer? Okay, so what were the causes? So children, let us go through. Before we go through it, I want to make you see this map. See, all these lines especially tell us about the different Harappan sites, especially see the river Indus. Uh, you can here just feel that it is draining from Jammu Kashmir and then it is entering in present day Pakistan part, and this finally it would merge itself in Arabian Sea. So along with this river Indus, some of the sites were being developed like Ghaneshwar, like Jokhar, like of the other, okay, like this Rangpur and all, okay. Now, so let us come again once again on the cause behind the end of the civilization. Before we go to the certain causes suggested by the researchers, historians, archaeologists, I want to let you know that by 1800 before Christ era, by 18th century before Christ era, most of mature Harappan sites had been left by the people. They started shifting to the other places. Researchers have given several reasons behind it. The first cause behind it is climate change. Other researchers say that in this area there had been excessive floods. Other group of researchers say that deforestation had taken place at a large level. Due to that, people started shifting. Some other researchers group say that the rivers had changed their course or they had dried up, and due to that water was very water availability had become very short, and that's why people started shifting. Another set of people say that the landscape had been overused and now it had become unfit for cultivation or for settlement purpose, so people shifted. So these are the major causes. I am reminding you. One group of people say that there had been climate change, others say that there had been excessive floods, others say there had been deforestation, some people say that rivers had dried up, some say that landscape had been overused. So finally the Harappan sites came to an end. People started leaving these places and started shifting to the another places. It is evidenced by disappearance of seals, beads, pottery and waiting system. Okay, when people started migrating, definitely these all works would come to an end, isn't it? That is. So children, I have summarized you almost all the major assumptions behind the end of civilization. Now we move to the next and very important thing about the research projects on Harappan sites. Okay, about discovering the Harappan civilization. Several archaeologists, historians, researchers have worked upon. We'll be studying them one by one. I'll be letting you know almost all of them in a very systematic way. If you will focus on my voice, you would be able to understand very proper way. So instead of reading these lines, you just focus on my voice, in which I'll be giving you a proper summary of every archaeologist and especially his contribution in the Harappan civilization sites. So first we are beginning with Cunningham. So when the name Cunningham comes, the first question is that who was Cunningham? What was his contribution? The first Director General of Archaeological Survey of India began archaeological excavation in the mid 19th century. And he was, this first Director General of Archaeological Survey of India was Cunningham. Okay, I'm repeating this, I have missed something. Let me start up once again. The first Director General of Archaeological Survey of India was Cunningham. He started his archaeological excavation in the mid 19th century, means around 1850 and onwards. He started working over the different archaeological sites of Harappan civilization. He used the accounts of Chinese Buddhist pilgrims who visited the Indian subcontinent between 4th to 7th century. So through their scriptures, through their texts, he specially targeted some of the sites and he started excavation over there. He collected, documented and translated inscriptions found during his survey. He especially tried to recover artifacts. Okay, artifacts means pottery, artifacts means jewelry, artifacts means the different images, paintings, etc. He thought, especially he collected those artifacts which he thought that they would have some cultural value. He was the first one who worked upon the site, so he faced difficulties in defining age or time of that period. Somewhere he missed the significance of Harappans, as it was not mentioned in details in the Chinese pilgrims. Chinese pilgrim records, it was not mentioned much more, so he somewhere missed the importance, he somewhere missed the duration. Okay, so that was all about Cunningham, which I have summarized you. Now we move to the next one, that is John Marshall. Okay, just a minute. Just a minute, children, we are doing. John Marshall. John Marshall was the first professional archaeologist, means who had been trained in the archaeology, and he started working over the Harappan sites. He was interested in spectacular finds, especially means objects, as well as to investigate patterns of everyday life. Means he wanted to know that what way Harappans were working, what were their beliefs, what were their customs, what were their traditions, that all. John Marshall excavated along regular horizontal units. Horizontal units means on horizontal units means when we talk of horizontal units, it means if he excavated the site A today, he would be moving on site B tomorrow, then he would be moving on site C tomorrow. Horizontal lines, okay, in a straight line. Okay, ignoring the stratigraphy of the site. Stratigraphy means, children, you see, when we are digging out only horizontal way and we are ignoring especially the vertical depths, we would be missing out the changes or the durational findings which had been dumped with time. Okay, all the artifacts recovered from the same unit were grouped together irrespective of the stratigraphy layers. Stratigraphy layers means in certain depth what kind of objects were found. Okay, they did not take care of that, and that's why they mix merge almost all the objects which they found at a particular site. They did not care at what depth they had discovered, at what particular thing was received by them on a particular strategic layer. It resulted in permanent loss regarding the information about the context of those findings. Okay. Now, children, after John Marshall, there had been another name, that is R.E. Wheeler. Okay, R.E.M. Wheeler was the Director General of ASI in 1944. He recognized the problem which Marshall has faced. Okay, means missing out the importance of stratigraphy. So he rectified it by following the stratigraphy while investigating mounds. Mounds means a big heap of dust. So while digging some particular heap, he started observing the things or the findings, that what depth they had been discovered. and what kind of objects they had been discovered at a particular stratigraphy layer. Children, I want to define you mound in a particular way. Mound means when people continue to live in same place, their constant reuse of the landscape results in buildup of occupational debris. Occupational debris would be collected over there. That is called a mound. Okay, means by the human interference, a particular geographical mass would be converting with time. Okay, that would be resulted in mound. I also want to define you layers. Layers are the short or long abandonments and results in alteration of the site or landscape also by either wind, water or erosion. Okay, sometimes occupations are identified on the basis of materials found in the layers. Children, before we move next, I also want to clear you about the stratigraphy, because regarding this there would be some certain doubts. So please hear me very carefully. Stratigraphy I'll be defining you very clear way. Please hear very carefully. Stratigraphy can be defined as layers which differ from one another in color, in texture or artifacts. Okay, generally the lowest layer are the oldest, okay, and the highest would be the most new, most recent. The study of these layers is called stratigraphy. Whenever we are discovering a particular site, we would be digging them, so the topmost layer would be the newest one, and the belowest, the layer of the soil which is the most below would be the oldest. Is it? So the study of these layers is called stratigraphy. So whenever the layer of soils would be discussed, that would be referred as stratigraphy. Artifacts found in layers can be assigned to specific cultural periods. Okay, to particular cultural periods these particular layers would be referring. So children, now you would be judging that John Marshall had done what mistake. Without considering those particular layer studies, he had digged the site without consideration at what depth what he has discovered. He just digged out, is it, and he mixed merge all the things whatever he had whatever he had discovered. R.E.M. Wheeler had worked upon this particular thing which John Marshall had missed, is it? So children, I cleared you about the stratigraphy, I cleared you about the layers, I cleared you about the mounds, so that your concept could be rich, that what was the problem with Marshall and what R.E.M. Wheeler has corrected. So now in the next topic we are going to learn about the problems of piecing or classifying the artifacts together. So let us know about the major problems. Okay, just a minute. So let us see about the problems of piecing together. Piecing together means whatever we have discovered from a particular site after excavation. Excavation का मीनिंग होता है उसको खोदना, उसको सर्च करना, इन्वेस्टिगेट करना, and after investigating how would we be classifying the things. Okay, so let us see. So first problem is recovering. Please hear me very carefully children. First and foremost problem would be of recovering. Harappan scripts was undeciphered, already I told you, but they got the information from material evidences like of pottery, like of tools, ornaments, household things. From these, historians came to know that what knowledge Harappans had, how scientific they had, what way they were producing. Okay, so all these means, though we were not able to decipher their script, but we by observing their pottery, by observing their ornaments, by observing their other tools, we were able to know that how scientific or how traditional they were. Organic material especially like cloth, wood, beads, etc. has been decomposed with time. So that is a great problem for the historians, that as these things decompose we will not be able to get much knowledge about these. Another problem in recovering, under the title of recovering, would be that sometimes stones, burnt clay, metal, etc. are used for reconstructing the information of site. Okay, and these days we do have many of the scientific processes through which we can age some stone. We can get knowledge of the soil also. We can reconstruct the particular material which had been 1,000 years ago or so, or what way it was used. We can create the assumption about, is it? And some scientific methods also help us to know about their age, their purpose, their chemical constructions, their chemical bondings and all. Okay, so after the problem of recovering, under the title of problems of piecing together, we would be moving to the second problem of classification. What is classification? Classification means after recovering, artifacts are classified. Okay, first type of classification is in terms of material, means whether they are of stone, whether they are of glass, whether they are of metal, whether they are of bone, that type of classification would be done. Second type of classification is in terms of function, means what function, what purpose these artifacts are being used. Okay, clear? Whether they are artifact, whether they are tool, whether they are ornament or what. Okay, for associating function of an article here means thing, they attached its resemblance with present day things, like of beads, like of quains, matlab ghati, stone plates, etc. Historians also keep in mind the context in which an artifact was found, whether it was found in a drain, whether it was found in a house, or whether it was in a grave or in a palace. Some archaeologists also take help of indirect evidence to reconstruct the history. For example, sculpture items, painting, etc. Okay, for which proof is not available. Especially we do this indirect type of thing for which proof is not available. We'll be observing some relevant type of thing. Items of which archaeologists are unable to understand directly, either they compare with the contemporary resemblance, or they do connect it in context it was found. So children, we have done sufficiently about the problems of piecing together. Okay, problem of interpretation of religious culture is also there. That is the another problem in this. Let me Archaeologists face many difficulties in interpreting the religious practices. Why? Because they associate certain objects with unusual or unfamiliar with the religious significance. Especially children, when the Great Bath was discovered, or the fire altars, or the terracotta figures of women found at different sites, women figure found at different sites were considered with the religious value. Seals, especially with the animal or the plant motifs, were considered to indicate the nature worship. Okay, one-horned animal, unicorn, referred to be mythical composition, because children, such kind of animals are not found, so it was considered as the mythical composition. A figure which is shown seated cross-legged in a yogic posture surrounded by animals had been regarded as a depiction of proto Shiva, or in favor of Shiva, or the Shiva worship. Okay, conical stone objects founded at some sites were considered as the Shivlingas. Okay, so that this way we have been associating all these particular things related to the religious or cultural identifications. So children, we come to an end of this lesson right here. We'll be meeting once again in the next video with the lesson number 2. Thank you everyone.